Good morning, everybody. My name is Paul. I work for a company called Micrographics in Cape Town, South Africa, and we are an Autodesk reseller. I'd like to spend some time today just introducing you to the concept of assemblies within Civil 3D and the fact that it might be difficult to make a beginning if you don't understand what all of the nomenclature means. Maybe you're a draftsperson and you haven't done this before, so you'd like to see what that works like. Just give you the backdrop quickly. We've got an alignment and a profile and a surface, and that defines a three-dimensional path according to which we can design some other road. And that road is composed of sweeps of elements that we call assemblies, and these assemblies are composed of subassemblies. Now, when you start out, you would go to your tool palettes. That's on the Home tab, under the Palette panel, on the tool palettes, and this opens up your tool palettes. Specifically in Civil 3D, we've got the first tab being Assemblies, and then you'll see that you can go to each and other subassembly as you go through there. A nice quick way to do this is to look at the bottom of your screen. There they seem to be scrunched up. And if you right click all where those little horizontal bars are, it's very specific, then you can navigate very easily based on a menu. And the easiest way to start understanding these assemblies is to have a look at the common assemblies, the intersections, and the roundabouts. So just having a look at the common assemblies, the way that you could visualize them, we usually have a little bit of the screen over there with a view that we define to go and have a look at our assemblies. But what is a basic assembly? What does that typically look like? Just drag it on and click, and there you can see what it looks like. All right. So this has, it looks like a road, a two-lane road with a curb on each side, sidewalk, and some other cut and fill on the side. And okay, so it's a sidewalk on each side of the road. That would be a typical road. Basic assembly. Basic lane transition, the divided highway. That looks interesting. All right, so a lot of people are wondering, how do you create a divided highway? All right, so there we go. Oh, look at that. And also it seems that it is able to super elevate that. You can see if you click on the subassembly and the name, it's got super elevation or super in the name. That means it can super elevate. Super elevate is where the road cants as you go around corners, very much like a race. If you look at a road that is built for race cars, it's usually accentuated. We go around the corners, then they cant to the corners so that the road basically slants. All right, so there are codes that govern this, and if it's got super elevation or super in the name, it can do that. All right, so. And then, all right, what about a primary road part intersection? There's a daylight left. These are partly used on things like your T junctions and so on. But it's great that they have included these assemblies for us to go and have a look at as samples of how they typically start the process out. Right. And depending on where the null assembly or the assembly line is located, these will also follow a type of an assembly. So if it's a roundabout, for instance, this would indicate the inside corner, and then this subassembly over there will close up the roundabout. And so that would be a good beginning. In my case, I'm still learning. I'm still struggling with certain aspects, like with the intersections. They are typically not that easy. But in essence, if we have a single crowned road, then each lane can be represented by a super elevation assembly. And in this case, for instance, you can see that it is, it's just something that I copied off an aerial picture. But over here you can see there are lanes, all right? And I drew some polylines of those lanes and created some alignments from them. And the result of that is that we can target the lanes, both the width of the lanes as well as the elevation if necessary. So what this would be a typical example of a multi-lane highway, 6-lane highway, 3 in one direction, 3 in the other direction. And it's a bit like playing Lego. If you know the Lego blocks that we typically get, or an assembly, we have to put these together and make them work for our situation. And the software is it's easier if you've got a clean slate design, because you can make the design follow the abilities of the software. But if you have an existing situation on the ground, then it might be a little bit more complex or challenging, and that would be the job that you would have to do with the software. So there are many more things that play into this conversation, including the surfaces that we are creating, the cut and fills that we are creating, the quantification of materials as we travel down the stations, the cumulative takeoffs, the cost involved with that, the iteration of the highway design, the sub-layers on the highway. Are there rock layers? Are there soft layers? Getting the geometric design correct. So there's a lot that goes into this process, but it's all based around this assembly and the sub-assembly. Luckily for us, there is extensive help on these. So if you look at something, one of the basic lanes over here, you can see basic lanes. There is our lanes, and there's the super elevation AOR. And if I want to understand how the sub-assembly works, we can say properties. And that will open up a help file that will tell us about the sub-assembly. Help. This opens up the help on the sub-assembly, and this shows you, it's a little text document that shows you the parameters that we can refer to in the properties within Civil 3D, and then the behavior as well as the coding that we use when we are generating surfaces and quantities, and then explanation of what each of those codes refer to. So each one of the sub-assemblies within Civil 3D is listed over there so that you can understand them. These are coded sub-assemblies. You do have the ability, I know some people with gutters in South Africa, they would just draw a polyline and convert them into assembly. That's one of the commands that are available. But there is also something else which is called the sub-assembly editor. And so if you are familiar with the nomenclature, you can see over here that we've got intersection points and all this going on, and as well as some coding and preview. This I haven't done before. I haven't created my own sub-assembly, but you would be able to, if you have the skills and the need within your company to create your own sub-assembly. You can go to the sub-assembly editor, which is available for you with Civil 3D, to go and create your own sub-assembly. Just note that every year Autodesk updates the sub-assemblies that is released with their software to be more developed, and also to include newer sub-assemblies and assemblies. So just one of the things you should do with each of the new versions of the software is to go and have a look at the tool palettes and to see if there are any new and interesting sub-assemblies that you can use. And beyond that, lean on your peers with you in the industry and learn from them. They've got institutional knowledge that have been built up over years, and they can advise you accordingly. I hope that this has given you some insight into what an assembly and a sub-assembly within Civil 3D is. And if you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to contact us at Micrographics. We look forward to hearing from you, and until next time, enjoy Civil 3D.